We the people tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We the people are the driver. The government is the car. And we decide where it should go and by what route and how fast. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are.
Hey everybody, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode number 92. Steve Murray is with me, John Tracy is with me, and of course I'm Matt Craig. Happy you are with us. Steve, how you doing, man? What's going on?
Well, if you go by Flyers Twitter, the core of the Earth is about to collapse and fling us all into the vacuum of outer space.
Yes.
But otherwise, I'm good.
Okay, yeah, good.
Yes, it is. And you know, thou shalt be perfect when you get traded to the Flyers.
Well, I knew
I don't get it at all.
I knew that D'Angelo trade was gonna be kind of a headache.
Yeah. No, I thought it was going to be
the nature of it. I get it. I think people do go a little overboard with it, but I get that aspect of it. But like the first round pick, people absolutely detesting it, I really didn't get.
Yeah,
because first of all, 95% of these people haven't even seen this kid play.
Yeah,
that was my.
Let alone knew his name probably before the draft even happened.
And I mean, everything that I saw of the kid was pretty good. I mean, he's got some skill. Obviously, needs to get some strength in him. But I mean, other than that, he seemed to be pretty good. Good shot.
I love me some big power forwards who can skate, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I literally do what I do with every Flyers draft. Even going back to the Claude Giroux pick back in the day, I went, who? Okay. Did a little bit of research. Went, we'll see in a couple of years, and you move on.
Exactly. Yeah.
What was his name again? Okay, cool. We got him. Again? All right, I'll look at him.
Oh, funny. Johnny,
but everybody beat Stephen A. Smith.
Well, got to have their hot takes, I guess. More than anything else. John, what's going on, man? How are you?
I don't know. Twitter
changes and tire failings and all kinds of stuff with your truck, right? Other than that, you're good? Yeah.
Everything's fine. Except for, I don't understand, with the Flyer thing, with what I knew making that trade was going to be, people were going to have a lot to say about it. But my only thought that I could come up with, I understand, he dude's a scumbag, fine, whatever. I'm not thinking about that when he's skating down the ice and making a pass. I don't know, why do people watch sports with political affiliations? I don't understand. It's hard enough just to watch the game.
Yeah.
There's so much going on, to watch. When he passes to the left defenseman, what are we going to do? Fucking boom because he's a Trump supporter?
Yeah.
I don't understand. I don't give a shit what he fucking does in his off time. Can he shoot?
Wasn't that also too with D'Angelo? Wasn't that 6 years ago that he got into trouble with his speech or something like that? Or I was
well,
I couldn't remember.
It depends on the incident you're talking about.
He's still an idiot.
He got in a fight. Yeah, I mean, he got in a fight with the goalie on the Rangers.
Yeah,
I guess that was over a year ago.
Okay,
that's when the Rangers booted him from the team and then bought him out.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's ringing.
That I think is the most recent incident.
Okay,
but he's got things going on. But he just played an entire season with the Carolina Hurricanes clean.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing happened. Nobody talked about it. So
plus 30.
Maybe he's turned a corner. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. If not, we can always complain to Chuck Fletcher again for his wonderful trade.
And we'll just boo him out of the city.
We'll just boo him out of the city.
I'm not going to judge him before he plays, though.
Yeah, exactly right. So, guys, well, here we go. It's episode 92, and of course, who wore the episode number in the city of Philadelphia, as we always do. And guys, before we get to the main highlight, we had Rick Tocchet, of course, wore 92 on his second stint back. Love it. 2000 to 2002, I think, right, Steve? If I remember right. In my research.
I think that's right. Yep.
Yeah. Wasn't the dynamic player he was in the mid to late 80s, but when he came back, it was okay, let's get the band back together, see what we can do. And was part of that great cup run in 2000. So there you go. Yeah. Did pretty well.
He was important that year.
Yeah. He definitely brought it. He was part of the glue that held that team together.
Now, I want to say, like, was Tony Amonte part of that team, or did he come in like a couple of years after?
No, that was later.
That was later. That was an old Tony Amonte.
Big love to talk on TNT though. He does a good job.
Yeah, he does a great job with that. Yeah.
Rick Talkins just a likable dude.
Oh yeah.
He's just a likable dude, and he speaks very well.
No doubt about that. Yeah.
And he gets on Paul Bissonnette's nerves, which is also.
That's awesome. So, as you guys know, I had some homework to do. I was assigned by Mr. Murray to take a look as to why Reggie White wore 91 in the city. Before he wore, of course, 92. Flash that picture up on screen. So, looking at this, prior to Reggie's arrival in 1985, the Eagles never had anybody in the history of the team wear 92. Never. Not one time.
Bizarre.
Which is really weird.
It seems so perfect, though.
It
If this story doesn't exist of the other guy that wore it, if Reggie was the only one to wear it forever, that would be cool.
That would be cool. But the reason why Reggie wore 91 was because of one player who wore it in 1985. His name was Smiley Creswell. Not making that name up. Smiley Creswell in 1985. Okay, so what's going on here? So Reggie, of course, I looked into this too. I looked into this as well.
From the Kensington bar also.
Exactly. I looked into this. Reggie wore 92 when he played with Tennessee. He wore 92 when he was with the Memphis Showboats of the USFL. So he comes to Philly, 92's taken. Well, I guess I'll take 91. Smiley Criswell was originally drafted by the New England Patriots. He was drafted by the Patriots in 1985. He couldn't get healthy. He was hurt through training camp. The Eagles signed him mistakenly.
This is the most pub Smiley's ever gotten.
It's just amazing. He wears the uniform number 3 games. He played in the NFL 3 times. He recorded 1 sack in his entire Eagles career. And the Eagles
if you project that out for 16, if he had played 16 games, that would have been what, 4.5?
4.5. That's not too bad. Yeah, that's not. I guess not too bad. But he couldn't stay healthy, so he ends up getting released again. And the Patriots, of course, in '85 they go to the Super Bowl. He shows up on that team, but doesn't play in the game. He's like on the bench somewhere or something.
Well, so he can't be blamed for what happened.
He can't be blamed for what happened. But the next year, 1986,
Smiley was in there. Perry would have been stopped.
Yeah, exactly. But of course, the next year, 1986, Reggie wears 92, and of course, the rest is history. He's one of the all-time greats, and the number is now officially retired, or has been retired by the Eagles. No one's ever going to wear that number again. But I found that incredibly fascinating. It's like, well, why would Reggie wear 91? It wasn't because he was a rookie. It was because the number was taken previously by some obscure defensive lineman that now everybody knows. If you watch Too Noobs. So there you go.
Too much information.
TMI, that's right.
Smiley, get that check out.
Exactly right. Well, guys, with all that being out of the way, why don't we go ahead and do our first topic here? And this is a very interesting, I guess you could say it's an opinion piece of the New York Post. It's written by this piece of crap, Phil Mushnick, I guess. He's a native New Yorker. He definitely comes out in the article.
It's all over this episode.
He really is. This is interesting. NHL rises where other sports leagues are crumbling. So it's kind of interesting here. He basically is complaining over the fact that this Blue Jays player on June 17th was basically showboating, hits a home run, runs around the bases, solo homer. They're down to the Yankees. I think it was like 10-2. They end up losing the game 12-3. But he goes through the whole shtick of putting on like a home run jacket, in the clubhouse. Meanwhile, on the other side, in Colorado, the NHL Stanley Cup Finals are, they're tremendous. I mean, the hockey playoffs were tremendous, start to finish, not just the Stanley Cup Final. So he's writing about basically, why do we have to have grandstanding and showboating in a meaningless regular season game when what we should have is the NHL on, during the Stanley Cup Finals all the time, which is a ludicrous statement. You got to go through a regular season and into the playoffs in order to qualify. John, I guess I'll go with you first. Like, what are your thoughts on all of this? Because this is interesting with regards to mixing in playoffs with celebrations in a regular season game.
Yeah, which seems weird. I don't even know why you would make that correlation.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, he's only watched the NHL. He's never watched European hockey for any amount of time because they have created all the ridiculous celebrations that are in NHL EA Sports games, the riding of the stick as the pony, the lassoing, all that. So hockey has it too. It's just in the playoffs, it's not like that.
Yeah.
It's a very fun police article. There is unwritten rules, and I do understand where he's coming from. Like, you don't showboat your home run when you're down 10-1. That's incorrect. Like, you don't celebrate that you're down 6-1 in a hockey game. You score a goal. You don't dance around, slide all over the place, and like, look at me, I scored. Then you go back to the bench, and hopefully that's a rally point.
Yeah.
But he sounds like he's just no fun.
Really amazing in this regard.
I'm picturing Clint Eastwood. Get off my lawn.
Literally, I bet you he boos little leaguers. Like, the way this article comes off, he just goes down to his little. He's like, "Timmy, you suck."
What's
He was
amazing?
like, "I just hit the ball for the first time."
Yeah, exactly. What's amazing here is, like, this is part of Mushnick's argument. Quote, down 10-2, the Jays threw a party in full view of paying customers. Yet it fell in line with pandering and detached Rob Manfred's stated goal to attract younger fans with acts of fun, in quotation marks. As if kids need more desensitization. As if neglected by MLB for the last 40 years in exchange for TV money. Kids need this kind of indoctrination, end quote. I'm like, really? I don't...
So they need the no fun police to come and tell them that baseball isn't fun, but yet they have to play fucking 11 games in the heat? We can't have any fun, kids.
There's also got to be a context to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he gives I have no clue what the context of this home run is. Maybe this is the first home run of the guy's career.
Yeah.
Maybe it's his first home run of the season. You know, when you've got, I've been on both sides of a youth hockey game where a team is up big and somebody scores who never ever scores, and that gets celebrated, and everybody's like,
celebrate that.
yeah, it's like, oh, okay, so little Jimmy, who never scores a goal, scored a goal. You know, he should be celebrated for that. You know, it doesn't matter that we're up 6-0.
Yeah.
You know, that's an important thing for him. You know, that becomes a little less important in the majors, but, you know, again, context is everything. We don't have the context of anything.
It's like totally messy. Yeah.
Frankly, if you're in the middle of a regular season game of 162 and you're getting trounced, you know, why not have a little fun just to, you know,
wake it up a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know
Matt,
when a
you
rally
brought up
can
a great
start.
point in pre-production.
Yes.
That might actually spark the team and lead to something.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, if it's something that's subtle and if it's like it gets the dugout fired up, all for it, man. All for it. You know, it's like you need a kind of a rallying point to get going. It's time and place, though, for that, you know, in that regard. My estimation, too.
At least he's doing it in the dugout. That I like that home run. I don't hate that home run celebration because it takes place with the team in the dugout. It's not like they pan in the dugout every 30 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, they don't, because the cigarette smoking and the cursing and the like Alec Bone beating the shit out of himself with a bat. They try to stay out of
that. There's also the line. I think you're right, John. Like, it's in the dugout. It's with the team. It's not in trying to embarrass the other team. That's where I get riled up. It's like when you're doing something
around second base, like putting both of his fingers up. Remember all that controversy when Jason Worth hit the home run and he was celebrating around second. Everybody was pissed. Right. He didn't do that. The dude came back, put his home run jacket on, did his little trounce through his people. Yeah. You know, high fives, handshakes, sit down, kid, whatever.
And the players in the field probably didn't even see it because they were already on to the next batter.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
you're kind of just moving on.
It wasn't showing up the other team.
Yes.
The guy's got a point if you're showing up the other team, but if it's a home run celebration in the dugout, who cares?
I was going to ask you guys this with Jose Bautista. a few years ago. Remember in the ALCS or the ALDS, I think it was against Texas. He hits a monster home run. It's a huge 3-run homer that puts the Jays up. I think either they come back from the home run or they're up.
Mm-hmm.
He adds to the lead. And he sits there admiring it, and then he chucks his bat, kind of like it was like one of the more epic bat flips. The next season, Rugged Odor clocks him in the face, which I thought was great karma, coming back and nail him in the face.
Well, don't throw it with the head, but yes.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's kind of what do you guys think of that? Is my question. Like, big playoff game, and he's sitting there kind of half admiring the homer, and then he chucks his bat. And it's like Texas was pissed off, obviously, in regards to that, but context, I don't know. I don't know what the point is.
To me,
in regards
context
to
that context is important to me.
Yeah.
It's a big, huge playoff game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably a little bit more showing up the other team than I would like, but in the moment with all the emotions, I could see that.
But let the players police themselves.
I mean, it's not like
Thank you.
John's saying, like he's running around the bases afterwards, like giving middle fingers to the pitcher as he's doing. He's like, I beat you, sucker! I beat it's not like that.
Every base, like that would be absurd.
Steps on every base with 2 feet and goes, that's not what happened,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The Batista thing, I could see where it might rile you up a little bit, but
sure.
It wasn't, especially in the context. If he did it in like a preseason game or a meaningless regular season game, yeah, that's kind of stupid. But
but a big playoff game, and of course, and again, I think John, your point is so well stated because it's like they police themselves. The next season, they had the big fight, right? But then that was it. It was that was even Steven at that point. They had to get him back.
It knows how to handle it. It's been around for a while. It knows how to handle its own business.
We don't need extra writers essentially coming in and saying, well, you should do this and you should do that. Down 10-2, you should.
Anything.
Yeah. You should be in this square. Now, I will say this, like in regards to the NHL, I think everybody loves the Stanley Cup playoffs. They just hate the regular season. I think every regular season's too long, to be perfectly honest. I think we could probably shorten that really down if everybody wants the playoffs so much.
No,
revenue.
They never will because of revenue, exactly. Yeah.
Gotta make money.
Yeah, you have to make money somehow.
Games. I don't mind 162 for baseball. I don't mind the length of the. I also can check out at times, like Flyers go on a 7-game road trip where they're going to be 4 of 5 and the games are late and I got to go to work. Hey guys, I'll sit out and I'll read about that the next day. Mm-hmm. But I got you, when you come home and I can watch it at a normal time. Like,
exactly.
But you got to check out on sports like that. You can't obsess over it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point too. Yeah, I think everybody just loves the playoffs so much. That's the thing. And I think that the anticipation, and especially when you look at the NHL, this playoff season, I was just looking at some of the highlights and some of the games. It was just like, it was the end-to-end action was probably the best part about it. It wasn't, and no one was really hitting anybody. There wasn't any huge controversies. It was just athleticism on display.
That's the one thing I missed from this one to previous ones. I like a little physicality in my playoffs.
Got a little, gotta throw that in the pie.
I love a little.
I wouldn't say
nothing happens. The puck just goes back and forth for a couple minutes, just because everybody who touches it gets touched. That makes me feel playoffs.
I wouldn't say it was without controversy. I mean, the Kadri overtime goal in the Cup final was allegedly scored with too many men on the ice.
Yeah,
that became a big. So
that was on both teams. Both teams had like 7. It was like I think Tampa had like 7 players and Colorado had 6. So it's like, what's going on there? Yeah.
Line changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, why don't we keep it going here with a little bit of a sports theme with episode 92? What do you think? Topic 2 here. Rob Manfred, MLB, showing how little they care about fans with streaming deals. And another Phil Mushnick article, Johnny. How about that?
Oh my God. And Rob Manfred not liking people?
Oh, what a shock. What a shock. I'm going to love hating on him. It's going to be great.
I'm blown away by that.
I love Mushnick's first sentence of this thing, Johnny. It says here, give Rob Manfred credit. Not many in his position would admit they would have no idea what they're doing. Well, I guess so.
Well, I agree with that. I think Manfred lets us know that he doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
We can see it.
Yeah, exactly. However, that doesn't diminish the reality that he has no idea what he's doing. Late last week in a State of the Mess address, Manfred said he sympathizes with fans who can't find or have no access to MLB's sudden exclusive deals with paywalled and soon-to-be paywalled streaming partners. Those deals, mostly on Friday nights and late Sunday mornings, have left fans, often by design, in the nation's largest TV markets, no longer able to watch their local baseball teams without jumping through digital hoops. And of course, this spinning forward, it was reported, I believe Steve brought it to our attention, right? In pre-production, the Phillies game on Father's Day.
On Father's Day.
Yeah.
Like
Good emphasis there. Yeah. Was on Peacock. It was not on NBC Sports Philadelphia. You had to buy Peacock for $5, sign up, in order to watch the Phillies on Father's Day. So, in another bonehead move by Rob Manfred,
get him.
I don't even. He potentially screwed up this season. Almost screwed up the season with the CBA. I mean, he almost clusterfucked that.
Oh yeah.
And at the 9th hour, he got saved out by the Players Association. I'm just going to mention that right now. They walked him back from the brink. It was amazing in that regard. Of course, he moved the All-Star game prior because he didn't like what was going on in Atlanta politically, even though that was none of his business. And now he's leaving on Father's Day. Guess what? If you want to watch your own home team, you got to go sign up through digital hoops in order to get through it. I don't get this guy. I seriously, I do not understand him. I don't get him.
He literally seems like he's trying to piss everybody off.
But why? That's my question. Why, Johnny?
Major League Baseball isn't the first one to do this.
No.
I know, but
there were, I believe, a few Flyers games this season that were on something. I don't know what
monstrosity
it was, but I think it was the ESPN streaming service,
which is
so you had to buy that to watch those games. And I think the NFL. I mean, doesn't the NFL do some games on exclusive?
Amazon. They've been doing
Amazon. Do you have to pay for that one, or is it?
No. You can watch it. NFL does it right. You can watch it on the app if you have the app for free when they put it on there. So, like, if an Eagles game is playing and it's on whatever, it's been on a bunch of them. Sometimes it's on the NFL app. Sometimes it's on whatever. Like, they put Sunday Night Football on Peacock for people that don't have cable. So, NFL kind of does it a little bit nicer to get, like, this is literally saying to everybody in Philadelphia, go fuck yourself. The Phillies aren't on Sunday, on Father's Day. Like,
last week, as if he
pony
was,
up.
Here's a great quote from Mushnick here. Last week, as if he was the first to know. Get him. Love it. Manfred acknowledged that there are fans who don't have an ample opportunity to do that. That being watching the game sold exclusively as streaming pay bait. So he's admitting essentially that they don't have the opportunity to access the MLB through a streaming service. So then why do it?
Right.
Why do it?
money.
Is that what we all keep going back to that, but it's ridiculous, John.
It's gotta be. They're taking the payday. Fuck the fans. They're taking the payday.
That's exactly what happens. Peacock comes and says, I'm going to give you $1 billion if you let me broadcast 15 regular season games exclusively on my streaming network. And he says, dude, okay.
Yeah, I'll take that
money. He takes the money. He doesn't care.
Exactly what they're
no
saying
problem.
Is, fuck the fans. We'll take the money.
No problem with that. How about a little advance notice? I mean, this is the first I had heard, like when Steve brought it up.
I agree with yes, advance notice, but I also see the why he wouldn't give advance notice, because we would have time to be pissed about it before it would happen, and then have to change his mind.
I mean, I remember during Flyers games this season where you would see on Twitter, it's like, well, where's the game? Well, if you want, and so one of the beat writers have to be like, well, if you want to see the game, you got to go to X.
Yeah.
And like, well, that's annoying, but it seemed like game day people were only figuring this out. Like, it wasn't,
they don't widely
well known.
Yeah, they don't widely public, but it's because what if a bunch of season ticket holders, right, got together? Let's say he announced this a year ago, and a bunch of season ticket holders from a bunch of different cities were like, we all don't want to handle this. Then Manfred's got to actually do his job and be like, oh, am I pissing off the fans? No, this way he just gets to take his money and piss on everybody. It doesn't matter.
Really is amazing here.
Because he already made his money. Now we're mad at him. It doesn't matter because it already happens.
Yeah, exactly.
He's made his money. They paid him already.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no
now
question.
It's up to us to pay. Peacock is looking for their money.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's why
exactly.
easy for Manfred being a scumbag. This is just status quo for him.
This is amazing here by Mushnick too. Quote, considering that pandering
Wait.
PSL...
Before you read that, let's not give this guy too much credit.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
The word amazing and Mushnick should probably not be in the same sentence.
No, exactly. Well, here's the thing.
We just happen to agree with some of the things he's espousing in this particular
Exactly. Whereas before we
like
weren't. But
it's like calling Steve a Trump supporter when he was like, well, I don't immediately want the guy to die. And then he's like, it's a Trump supporter.
Exactly.
That's like calling Phil Mushnick amazing just because we agree with him is
this one time.
Yes,
Yeah, exactly. This one time.
I don't think I've ever agreed with him before.
Can you believe this? This is an interesting sentence that he writes. Quote, considering that pandering PSL hustler Roger Goodell on ESPN's Manning Brothers telecast declined to speak any Snoop Dogg rap song titles because they might be too vulgar. That's interesting. Yet he also chose him to perform his Triple X act before an estimated 208 million Americans in the Super Bowl, all of whom Goodell apparently believes are beneath his standards of civility. And he continues on, and though the NBA is in immediate need of social cleansing top to bottom, with extra soap applied to the verbal and social messaging regions, wow, Adam Silver doesn't seem inclined to be the one wielding the washcloth.
I'm not agreeing with this.
Yeah, why did this guy just go total rogue on us?
Seriously, it's crazy. I think he's trying to like loop in Manfred with all this stuff. Manfred's a scumbag, no question about it.
I think he's going back to get off my lawn here.
Yes.
He's going back to get off my lawn. Yeah. We were like, okay, we agree with you. Manfred's screwing people with these streaming deals.
Yeah.
Well, now that you agree with me, let's talk about these other things. And we're like,
no.
His points are not. Yeah, we don't need.
Yeah. So
I don't take my NBA advice from Phil Mushnick or my NHL advice or my NFL advice.
I don't need to take any advice really for Rob Manfred. From Phil Mushnick about Rob Manfred. He's a
I already know Manfred's scumbag.
Yeah. But yeah, it's not good when you have. And let's face it, okay, MLB games, they're long, they're lengthy. He's looking to try and shorten them. That's a pretty good thing. But if that's the only good thing I'll give him that. But everything else that he's touching is pretty much turned to dog shit. So I think
we might not have as big an issue with the streaming thing if it was like some random Wednesday night game that all right, I can skip it. But Father's Day, come on.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Father's Day. It'd be like the same thing with Memorial. It could be on Memorial Day. What's next? Memorial Day? July 4th? Right. Come on.
What is normal when we're around our parents, our kids, right? During these times, right? Mm-hmm. Normally during the summer, baseball's somewhere. It's on a TV or a radio somewhere. It's especially for the Philly. I could see if they did it with, Colorado. You know what I mean? It doesn't have a great fan base. Take that game and put that on there. But you're thinking like the Phillies, the 100-year-old
Harry and Whitey down at the shore. Yeah.
That's very, very, very big following in its hometown on Father's Day. And you're just like, fuck it. We're putting it on Peacock. Because, everybody has Peacock.
And what worries me is, are they going to do something like this during the playoffs?
I have no doubt.
Is some team fan base going to get screwed out of a playoff game because Manfred wants to stream it exclusively on Peacock?
Most likely, because he'll get his money before Peacock will, and obviously he'll do it.
Exactly. And now, a word from our sponsor.
Today's show is brought to you by Smiley Criswell, who called in and paid Matt to say his name multiple times on air. So, Matt, when are you going to spread that money around? Smiles for Smiley.
All right. Well, I guess his check is not coming in the mail.
Oh, that's awkward.
Oh, I'm sorry, John.
Moving on.
Okay, well, moving on. Topic number 3. And this one, again, another sports thing, but not so good news. Steve, I think you have some interesting news coming out of Russia, unfortunately, with the Flyers goaltender, right?
Yeah, so the Flyers backup or potential backup goaltender for next season was his name is Ivan Fedotov. Big, it's like 6'7" goalie, played in the KHL last year, won the championship with in regular season and playoffs. He had a ridiculously he's like sub 2 goals against.
Oh wow.
Great
Okay.
save percentage. He signed a contract in May, I think, to come over and battle for the spot behind Carter Hart for next season. And the reports coming out of Russia are that I think he was leaving a practice facility or something when he was approached by some gentleman of an officious-looking nature, taken away in a van.
Oh,
It's reported that he has been detained for evasion of military service and has subsequently apparently been sent to the Arctic to serve in the Russian Navy, all of which puts into jeopardy obviously his playing with the Flyers next season, but I certainly also fear for this young man's safety now.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous.
100%. And I think you made the great point in pre-production. Vladimir Putin is nuts, because this is a very, very bizarre story. That just screams like it's like a Bond villain coming in and taking like the most important precious possession that you could possibly have, and you're just hauling away in this van and off you go and you're gone. I mean, my God.
I think it's pretty clear. You know, I don't know what the requirements are for military service in Russia, blah, blah, blah. But there certainly stinks of retaliation.
Oh, 100%.
The guy is now leaving CSKA, Moscow, or whatever that Red Army team is, to come to America and play for the Flyers next season. And now all of a sudden he's been a draft dodger.
Yeah, it has a lot of sting to it.
It's just,
it definitely has a lot of sting to it. I mean, there are countries. To be fair, there are countries where you have to do military service before you can do this.
I'm sure Russia is one of them.
Tennis has had their stars. Basketball has had their stars. It's I mean, well, David Robbins even had to fulfill his Navy to finish up before. But that's agreeable. This is not agreeable. That's the only point I had to the whole thing. This sounds like an 80s movie.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, a 70s movie or whatever.
It sounds like real life. It sounds like an 80s movie.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, John. It does. I mean, it's if you ever seen the first Mission Impossible movie, where the guy at the isolated workstation lets Tom Cruise take that data, and he's like, oh, we're sending a man a satellite pole in Alaska and shipping his clothes. That sounds like what this is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
it's
no
insane.
question.
You might not be getting to his clothes now.
Yeah, Johnny, actually, I was just going to say, Johnny, to your point in regards to the military academies, you're right. West Point and also Annapolis, it's required. I think it's 4 years of active duty service before you're then released into the country. And I think that's also for the Air Force Academy out in Utah, if I'm not mistaken. So it's those 3 branches, Army, Air Force, and Navy, that require that. I think the Marines are an all volunteer, I think.
But that's also you go in and you sign up for that. Sometimes, like I think Israel, you actually have to do 2 years.
Israel, you're drafted in. You're
Yeah.
drafted in, and you have to serve, I think, a minimum of 2 years.
Yeah. And there's a couple other countries that it's your citizenship says that you need to do this.
Yep.
Russia's probably one of them. But like Steve said, to the point, it's very slimy that a dude makes a couple $1 million and is gonna leave a thriving competitor to the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden he's a draft dodger.
And he may not end up being the only one. There is concern that other NHL players who went back to Russia for the offseason.
Yeah.
You know, I think it turned out to be debunked, but there was concern about the Minnesota guy, Kaprizov.
Okay.
There was momentarily some worry about him. I don't think Alex Ovechkin has to worry.
No.
I was just going to say, like, I think Ovechkin
he
is
might
living
know
here in
somebody.
the States, yeah.
Yeah. I think Alexander Ovechkin might know somebody.
Kid's 25 years
Yeah.
old, by the way, this goalie, Ivan Fedotov, yeah. Yeah, GM Chuck Fletcher said basically the team was aware of the situation. You had no further comment at that time. So,
Oh, good work,
What can
guys.
you do?
but what can you do? Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Make a phone call?
The team, CSKA Moscow, is owned by the Russian government, and its players are considered military personnel. So there you go. It was
Well, that was the other thing I've heard was like for those guys, military service is often considered as playing for the team.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
That's
Says
the
here in
weird
this-
part. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
the weird part about it.
Says here, CSKA may be trying to hold on to its top goaltender by twisting Russian military service law since he is officially considered military personnel. To your point, Steve. So there you go. But yeah, they were hoping that Flyers were hoping that he would compete. I don't think there was anything wrong. The Flyers did. Flyers were posting that to their social media accounts. I remember there was something like, they had signed he signed a two-way contract. They faxed him the whole thing, and he signed it, sent it back, and how he wasn't on a plane the very next day, or something along those lines, I don't know, but
That's due diligence. Yeah, it sounds like they did the contract fine, but you gotta, you know what I mean? Like, you probably should have signed that contract when he was here.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Keep it quiet until you got him here.
into the
Yeah,
United
but
States.
at the same time, as far as I know, there's been no precedent for this.
No.
You know,
Yeah, this is
NHL,
unprecedented
Russian
behavior.
Russian players go back and forth all the time.
Yeah, there was in the 80s, there was a precedent.
Well, yeah, I mean,
I
but
could see back then how you would, that's probably what I'm thinking of, is back then they used to have to secure them in the United States before you could even sign them.
Yeah, exactly.
But that wasn't like, to your point, that's not the way that it's been going since the 90s, 2000s, 2010s.
no.
There's been pretty much, I
No,
know
the only people at
Fire
fault here is
other
the only,
countries.
the only people at fault here is the Russian government.
Yeah,
You know, they're talking themselves into winning this war with Ukraine that they are clearly not winning.
yeah.
And now star hockey players are trying to leave the country, for better, greener pastures, and they're desperately trying to cling to them by twisting the rules around.
Well said, because you're right. I mean, let's face it, the Russian ruble in the marketplace is pretty much dog shit, repeating what I said about Manfred. But yeah, it's like when you have that's nothing. It's like you're looking for other opportunities to go elsewhere, which Fedotov obviously ended up doing. What are you going to do if you're desperate? You do desperate things, and that's exactly what I think what Russia is definitely doing here in this regard, in this story. So we're hoping that this guy can get out. Being sent to the Arctic to serve in the Russian Navy. That's weird. You know what I mean? Like, why would you go up to the cold to serve in the Navy? That doesn't make any sense.
There's reasons for that too, but I mean, what we consider him lucky, just not even as a flyer, but as a person, he's not being sent to battle zone in Ukraine.
Yeah,
right.
He's being
So-
sent elsewhere.
Yeah, he's at least invading war for the moment.
And that I think tells you a lot too.
Yeah.
It's like, again, they're holding on to him because he's got certain talents
Yeah.
as a goaltender.
Well, because
They're not going to send him where he's likely to be, injured or killed.
No, but we could lighten your sentence a little. We lighten your sentence a little if you want to play goalie for us and not go over there. Yeah. It's manipulation at its finest. They're doing a good job of it. Idiots.
No. Really?
Let the kid play.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, here we go with topic number 4, and it's another Two Noobs tournament, the best Philadelphia athlete tournament. We've hit 4, and now we go on to the other 4. We're going to be filling out the rest of the Elite 8 in the next few weeks, and then all of a sudden we've got, I think our goal is episode 100. We're doing the Elite 8 Final 4 championship. It's right around the corner, guys. This is crazy. But it's been so much fun doing it with both of you, going through the first and second rounds and then voting, of course, see who makes it into the Elite 8. But this will be the upper half of the Eagles bracket. I've deemed this the Linc bracket of the best Eagle tournament. This person, whoever will come out of these 8 players, will face Brian Dawkins in the Elite 8, and we're going to throw up the brackets on screen. Of course, we've got Dawkins, we've got Mike Schmidt, we've got Eric Lindros, and the good Dr. Julius Irving at the bottom there, filling out the 4. So, again, just to recap, the big tournament, what we ended up doing, we took the entire list from ranker.com, and from that list, for each individual team in the city, so we had the Flyers, Sixers, Phillies, and Eagles, so top 16, and then we filtered out based on a couple of criteria. 1, how long they played, so it was minimum 3 years in the city from 1983 onwards. 2, their overall production in the field, so it could have been like if they had multiple All-Star appearances, if they won any championships, MVPs, if they're a Hall of Famer, things along those lines. And then, of course, popularity. Popularity within the city, popularity with, of course, with the host, things along those lines. I think I checked off all the boxes there, guys. I don't think I missed anything.
Yeah, and just so everyone knows, we threw Ben Simmons out pretty early.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah. The original, list when we did the Sixers had Ben, I think, at, 12, and we were like, no.
Thrown out immediately. He was beaten.
No. How is that, how is he 12th? That doesn't make any sense. So, guys, here we go. We're going to start off with the first round, and we're going to go with the illustrious Steve Murray with his first choice here. Steve?
I wore my Coy Detmer jersey for
there you go. I have the Dawkins jersey, the guy who's going to be facing Brian, so we'll see how this goes. But you have
Coy Detmer versus Brian Dawkins.
I'll give the honorable mention award to Coy Detmer really for playing with coming out of there with a dislocated elbow in that 49ers game on Monday Night Football. That was crazy. He was a tough guy. Tough guy.
I want to give props to the entire Detmer family. There's not a better football family ever. Going from their dad to Ty to
Coy. Yeah.
They know football in a way that I would love to just have them all in a room.
Hell yeah. The stories they would tell. My God, it'd be crazy. So, Steve, the 8-9 matchup here, we have the 8 seed is Jason Kelsey, and the 9 seed is Mike Quick.
Oh.
So you have Jason Kelsey, the center, the illustrious center of the, with the greatest speech ever at a parade, versus Mike Quick, the current, the guy who's alongside Merrill. And also a great player in his own right as well. So what do you think?
Mike Quick, definitely a great player in his own, but Jason Kelsey is the greatest center I think we've ever had.
Yeah.
And not just because he dressed up as a mummer for the Super Bowl parade and gave that illustrious speech that you alluded to.
Yeah.
But he every time you watch an Eagles game, the color analyst is always saying what Kelsey is doing in a play that no other center in the league can do.
Yeah.
He's just a remarkable athlete for his position.
Yeah.
And so I have to advance Jason Kelsey.
That's awesome.
I don't think
Love it.
There's any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't disagree with you at all. I think just the fact that, and we've kind of poked fun at David Alexander for where'd he go? We didn't have that with Jason Kelsey for, my God, it's got to be over 10 years, if not more, in his career. He's going to go down. He'll be in the Eagles Hall of Fame for sure. Canton bound? We'll
I
see.
think he's got the resume.
I mean, he's
He
got
sure
a
does. Yeah, Super Bowl champion.
He got a Super Bowl. He
Yeah.
got I think he got his All Pro last year.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He's been multiple Pro Bowls. I think he
He's-
absolutely qualifies.
No doubt about that. All right, John. Well, we go up to the middle part of the bracket here for you. We got the 5 seed is Jason Peters, and the 12 seed is Clyde the Glide Simmons.
Oh my God, that's tough.
Yeah,
The left tackle.
the left tackle versus one of the all-time great rush ends, and you want to talk about Clyde Simmons with his career? He played forever. My God.
But someone say that Reggie helped.
Oh yeah.
Someone say that Reggie helped. He had a very good line.
Yeah.
Man, the left tackle.
Yeah.
That's tough, man.
Yeah.
Do you know that Jason Peters was a tight end in college?
That's scary.
I like to say that every time I hear a story about Jason Peters. I'm wow.
I can imagine him catching a
You're
ball.
really a tight end? That's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was drafted with the Bills as a tight end, turned to a left tackle. And then Andy Reid.
The rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah, and Andy Reid robbed him, and he did that.
Yeah. So what are you thinking? I mean, this is a tough matchup. It's 5-12.
It's the same thing as we talked about with what's his name? Last Eagles one. The defensive tackle.
Oh, Fletcher Cox.
Yeah, Fletch. When you talk about like Andy Reid taking over, right?
Mhm.
And Corey Simon turns into Fletcher Cox. It turns into the next one. Look at Jordan Mailata.
Yeah.
They like mauling left tackles, and how did they figure that out? Trey Thomas to
Mhm.
Jason Peters to
To Malata. Yeah.
yeah. I gotta give it to the left tackle. 'Cause
Okay.
he is the left tackle.
Okay, cool. Yeah, good
Love
pick.
Clyde, but he left us.
Yeah, Clyde was... he did. He
For
did
the
leave
Cardinals.
He left us.
it. Yeah, and he played with Jacksonville. He was part of the expansion draft. He played in the Jacksonville Jaguars in the mid-90s. I mean, he was everywhere.
I love Clyde though. Clyde could play.
He
Clyde
could definitely
but
play. Yeah.
Little too young for me to have an analytic perspective that I get. Jason Peters is the left tackle.
There you go. Okay, makes sense. So continuing with you, John, you've got the 4-13 matchups here. So the 13 seed is Malcolm Jenkins.
The 13 seed is Malcolm Jenkins.
The 13 seed is Malcolm Jenkins. The 4 seed is Brian Westbrook. So you have the great kick returner, running back extraordinaire.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, Malcolm Jenkins is phenomenal, but we're talking Brian Westbrook. Like we're talking Brian Westbrook, like
Wow.
Brian fucking Westbrook.
Okay.
The dude, he taught us things that little guys could do that I still don't think other guys his size can do. I think it was just him.
The punt return.
Just smart play, like running all the way down, it's sliding at the 1 yard line, so you don't have to run another play.
Yeah.
Infuriating fantasy owners everywhere.
Everywhere.
But genius football play. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
he was Donovan's safety.
Oh,
Like-
yes. Yeah.
Donovan didn't have to think because Westbrook would always find an opening, and he could run the ball.
I think about
All day long.
specifically the play that he had up in the old Meadowlands against the Giants, the punt return. 10-7, you know, they're really sliding. It's like they can't move the ball against the Giants. They, you know, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden they try and kick to him, and on one hop catches the ball, runs to the outside, and runs to the end zone, scores a touchdown, turns the entire division. The Eagles were kind of like middling at like
season,
2-2. Yeah, exactly. Catapulted them right into the NFC Championship game that year.
The funny part about that is we've had a lot of good punt and kick returners
Yeah.
in the Eagles.
We really
And
have.
Ryan Mitchell.
For him to stand out,
Sean.
as I remember when he got hurt that year,
Yeah.
our punt return game sucked.
Yeah.
I remember the radio was killing Andy, like, why didn't you get a backup for him? And Andy's exact concept was, how do you do that? Like, you can't get a backup for Brian Westbrook.
You're not a Reno Mahe guy, John.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? You can't- How are you going to replace that? We're lucky to have
Exactly.
it.
How about some quick love though to Malcolm Jenkins, right? I mean, free safety extraordinaire. I mean, you got coming in, leads that secondary. I mean, he was cleaning up all kinds of crap that was left over, right, in that Super Bowl. I mean, if we didn't have him in the lineup, right, got to give him some love.
To start the tempo in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That hit where he decapitated that dude.
Yeah, or Brandon Cooks. Yeah, when he laid him out, yeah, it was pretty much over at that point for the Patriots. They had no offense at that point. Well,
and he played something insane, like 99.999% of the snaps, like while he was here, wasn't it?
Could always count on him. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
The only thing you don't like about him is he went vegan during that time. That's the only thing you like about him, Steve. We talked about that before.
There you go.
No,
that's why he got bumped to 13.
What a great career he had here. I mean, he had a great career with Saints. He had a great career at Ohio State. I mean, there's
recently retired. That's right. Yeah.
There's no shine like that we can put on. Like, the dude is a hell of a man and a hell of a player.
No doubt. Amen to that.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve. So here we go. This is the final pick of the Eagles of all the 16 players. So this is it. You got the 16 seed is Troy Vincent, and of course the number 1 seed is the Minister of Defense, Reggie White. Reggie or Troy Vincent? So I will leave it up to you, my good man. What do you think?
I love Troy Vincent.
Yeah.
I mean, him and Bobby Taylor were my cornerbacks back in the day. Those guys had some length and they could slap some balls, and it was good times.
It was a great free agent signing.
He was.
Really
he was probably the first
major one.
Well, no, not. I thought Ricky Waters might have been the first, one of the.
But the first defensive, probably the first defensive move.
Yeah.
During Glory's era.
Yeah.
That really put a stamp on it.
And really, Brian Dawkins credits Troy Vincent for bringing him along in his career. If it wasn't for Troy, I mean, that kind of deal.
Well, isn't Troy head of the Players Association?
He is.
Still is.
Yeah, he's the man. Troy is the man.
Yeah. Troy Vincent was a heck of a player and a heck of an individual off the field. But it's silly. It's Reggie White. Come on.
Yeah. I remember meeting him in a book signing. This was a while back.
Troy or Reggie?
Reggie.
Okay.
And I was probably, maybe you're talking 12, 13. So this is right when he's like 1990, 91 type of thing. And I remember I had back then I did have a replica Reggie White jersey at the time. And of course we go to the book signing and it's packed with people. Packed with them, and we go up and I shake his hands and his hand practically enveloped mine. I mean, it was literally like he just ate it, that kind of deal. I'm like, oh my god, you got a good Mr. White. Kid.
You are. I'm currently absorbing you via osmosis. Just wait.
He's like, you got a good short, kid. I was like, okay, thank you. Wow, you're great. You're awesome. It was great. It was just amazing. You're 10, 11 years old. You're looking up at this guy, and he's like this monster among men. It's tremendous. So, yeah.
Reggie was definitely.
No doubt. So, here we go. Second round, guys. And, Steve, we're going to go for you. This is going to be an interesting matchup here. You've got the 5 seed is Jason Peters. The 4 seed, Brian Westbrook in the second round. So the 5-4. Left tackle extraordinaire, running back punt returner extraordinaire.
I might anger John with this one.
No, I don't think so. I think you're right on it.
But
I'm feeling it.
We'll see. Jason Peters held on too long.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did.
It was like a Bill Guerin situation.
A little bit too long.
A little bit too long. Brian Westbrook, I think, got out when the getting out was good. I don't remember him having a terrible season and then I'm retiring. It was like it was time for him to go, and he went. And so I look at Westbrook's career kind of better because it wasn't tainted by a sad ending. So I'm gonna advance.
You're gonna move Westbrook.
I completely agree.
That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. John, for you to close out the second round here, Another difficult matchup. 1 seed Reggie White, 8 seed Jason Kelsey.
Damn it, Reggie, why didn't you bring me a chip?
That's the one
Does
thing
the
Kelsey's
8
got on him.
upset the 1? Or do we have the... No, Reggie.
Minister of Defense. Like,
Yeah.
dude.
Yeah. I mean, just one of the all-time greats and sack leader for a number of years until, Bruce Smith took him over. But yeah.
These 4 guys really talk about how much we love that game more than like they were all great, like actually almost that entire list, great humans, great players, but everybody on that list would say that Reggie should come out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. All right,
Kelsey himself would probably agree.
I think he probably would. He probably would. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, most likely.
Gents, it now comes down to this. Who will face Brian Dawkins in the Elite 8 of our Two Noobs tournament of the best Philadelphia athlete? Is it going to be Brian Westbrook or the Minister of Defense, Reggie White? So I will make my choice here, and I'll wait your selections. So this is going to be interesting. This is going to be very, very interesting. As everyone's making...
John's in yet?
No. He is not, no. Waiting on him.
There we go.
Okay, got John's in. Yeah. I don't know if that is necessarily correct, Mr. Murray. I think you'll have to do it again. But we do have I guess you could say a unanimous selection. I don't want to speak for Mr. Murray. But Reggie White will join Brian Dawkins in the Elite 8. I don't think you could have asked for a better representative coming out of this Linc region, right? I mean, he's the greatest defensive end, one of the greats of all time, certainly in the Eagles, the best when we think defensive end. He's the template, right, John? You like to say that?
Absolutely.
He's clearly, and just one of the only thing he did leave us, but I think it was legit because of Norman Brayman. Really.
I don't think we blame Reggie for leaving.
No. And I mean, it broke my heart when he left, but obviously he was doing the right thing. He was like, I can't win here. I have to win. And he ended up winning with the Packers.
It was the same thing like the Scott Rowland thing. Like, I don't blame Scott for leaving. Philly's management at that time was terrible and didn't show, the desire to do what it was necessary to win. And so that same thing with Reggie. I don't think Brayman was doing enough to put the team over the top and pay Reggie what he was worth. Which should have been the moon and back. I can't blame him.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we're going to flash up the bracket, the updated one, and of course we got Reggie White and Brian Dawkins. 1-2 matchup there. Wow.
That's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun to talk about. And then you've got Mike Schmidt coming out of the Phillies, Lindros, and Dr. J. The round out the 5. So we've got, next up on the list, we've got the Phillies, second part of the Phillies bracket in a couple weeks. And then a couple weeks after that, we'll finish out the Flyers and the Sixers. So we'll figure out that with scheduling down the road. But guys, what a great tournament, right? So far. Thank goodness you guys remember things, because I need to write things down better in pre-production. But we've got a happy segment, guys. And Johnny, I guess you might as well just go ahead and hit that play button.
Today, a chapter closed in American history. The last living Medal of Honor recipient from World War II, Herschel Williams, affectionately known as Woody, passed away. Born on a West Virginia dairy farm in 1923, he enlisted in the Marine Corps and was sent to Iwo Jima with the 3rd Marine Division in February 1945. Marines had been fighting to take the island for 4 days, raising the iconic flag over Mount Suribachi.
It not only lifted our spirits here on this rock, it lifted the spirits of America.
But Woody's Marines were pinned down by Japanese troops firing from fortified bunkers. Using a flamethrower, Woody fought for 4 hours, stopping the attack and saving U.S. lives.
It wasn't anything outstanding that particular day. It was just another day of battles.
In October 1945, President Truman presented him with the Medal of Honor, but Woody said it didn't belong to him.
He said, "This medal is not mine. It belongs to all those Marines who didn't come back. I only hold it in trust."
Woody returned home and continued to serve for more than 65 more years at the Department of Veterans Affairs, and then until his final days working with Gold Star families.
Woody lived a life that reminded everybody how easy it was to do the right thing. He was a mentor to a lot of us.
The Marine Corps is fortunate to have many heroes, but there is only one Woody Williams, Semper Fidelis Marine. Woody Williams was 98 years old. Courtney Kuby, NBC News, The Pentagon.
Not much more to add, Johnny. What do you think?
Oh, we've covered him a few times.
Yeah.
Sad to hear his passing, but god damn, what a man.
Yeah.
Love that flamethrower story. That never gets old.
No.
I'd like to know if
I handled it.
I'd like to know if that footage of the flamethrower was actually him and actually there, or if it was just like stock footage.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh.
His story, if people want to research him, like if you don't know who he is, dig deep into him, because him telling that flame, I've heard him in multiple decades tell that flamethrower story. It's amazing.
Yeah, maybe I can find it. See if I can maybe throw it in a card up there in the upper right corner.
It's amazing.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, guys. Now we've hit the end of the episode 92 of Two Noobs Talking. It's great to be able to talk with the both of you, of course, about the news of the day and other assorted items of note. Johnny, where can people find us on Two Noobs?
We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Clapper, and anything else I can get my grubby little hands on once Steve posts videos. I will steal them and put them places.
You only got one out last week, John. Come on.
Yeah, no, I'm still backlog here.
We gotta get going on that, but yeah, that's cool. That brings us to our main YouTube channel, the Two Noobs Talking Podcast. Like, share, subscribe our videos to our channel, and love our videos. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you. Love to hear your thoughts too. On the audio side, Steve, where can people listen to us?
People can listen to us on Podbean, but Podbean puts us out over the airwaves to other things, like, as I found out this week, Pandora. Not the jeweler, but the other one. We're also on Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Am I missing anything there?
No.
But you can Google us, TWOTOO. Doesn't matter. Either one will find us.
You got the one that Glenn watches us on or listens to us on, right?
Yeah, that was iHeartRadio.
Okay, good.
Oh, there you go.
Shout out to Glenn. We like Glenn, so we'll just keep shouting out.
We do? We do? Really?
I don't even know if he listens all the way through, but if I'm going to keep doing this to see if he does.
All right, well, so that's the test. Next time I talk to him, if he doesn't acknowledge the shout out from episode 92, I'll know he's a liar and doesn't listen to the whole thing.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys. Well, until then, moving on to episode number 93. We're so close to 100. It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. Until then, guys, talk to you all guys next week. Take care.
If you don't read the newspaper, you're uninformed. If you do read it, you're misinformed. That's the great question. What is the long-term effect of too much information? One of the effects is the need to be first, not even to be true.